Hi everyone and welcome to Master Calculator. In today's video, we're going over how to subtract mixed numbers with regrouping. Let's start off with some vocab that you need to know for adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Numerator and denominator. These are the top and bottom numbers of a fraction respectively. For 1/2, 1 would be the numerator while 2 would be the denominator. Like fractions. Like fractions are extremely important when we're talking about adding or subtracting fractions. Like fractions have the same bottom number or denominator. For example, 1/2 and 3/2 are like fractions. Equivalent fractions. These are just basically fractions that are equal to each other. For example, 1/2 and 2/4 are equivalent fractions because they're equal to each other. Improper fractions. This is an extremely important term that you must know. An improper fraction is a fraction where the numerator is greater than the denominator. This means that all improper fractions are greater than 1. Mixed numbers. Mixed numbers are the combination of numbers and fractions. For example, 1 and 1/2 is a mixed number. Before we start subtracting mixed numbers, let's go over the steps. Step 1. Write the mixed numbers vertically. This step is optional but truly helps. Step 2. Make sure the fractions have the same denominator. Step 3. If the fraction on top is greater than the one on the bottom, borrow 1 from the whole number. Step 4. Write the borrowed number as a fraction with the same denominator and add it to the top fraction. Step 5. Subtract the fractions. Step 6. Subtract the whole numbers. And step 7. Simplify if required. Now this may seem really complicated, but let's go over a few examples so you'll understand. Okay, let's look at this really simple question without any regrouping so we can see how the subtraction works. First, we have to subtract the fractions, then we have to subtract the whole numbers. 3/4 minus 1/4. Well, 3 minus 1 is 2, then we keep the same denominator of 4. Then we subtract the whole numbers. 5 minus 3 is just 2. Okay, we're almost there, but we still need to simplify 2/4. We can divide the top and the bottom by 2. So we get 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we get our answer as 2.5. So this was one of the more simpler problems, but we look at a more complex problem with regrouping and finding like denominators. Okay, let's look at this question. What's 7 and 2/8 minus 4 and 5/8? So first we have to subtract the fractions. 2/8 minus 5/8. Well, we can't subtract that because 2/8 is less than 5/8. So we have to regroup. So for regrouping, let's look at a small example with whole numbers. So 35 minus 27, for example. How would we do this? Well, 5 minus 7, we can't subtract. So we take from the 3, 2, and we add 10 to 5, and we get 15. Then we subtract 15 minus 7 is 8, 2 minus 2 is 0. So the answer is just 8, right? So what we did here is that we removed from the tens place, and we added a whole to the one place, like 10. So the same thing for this one. Pretend this is the ones, and this is the tens, and a whole is 1, like 8/8. So let's take from 7, make it 6, and add 8/8, which is the same as 1. So a whole to this. So that becomes 10/8. So then we do subtraction. 10/8 minus 5/8 is just 5/8. And then 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 and 5/8 is the answer. This is our last question. This question is a challenge problem, so pause the video and try to solve it yourself before we do it together. Okay, let's go. 13 and 5/7 minus 10 and 11/14. So first we have to subtract the fractions. 5/7 minus 11/14. Well, those don't have the same denominator. One has a denominator of 7, while the other has a denominator of 14. So we need to rewrite them to have the same denominator first. 13 and 10. And the same denominator is going to be 14, because that's the least common multiple for both of them. So 5/7 with a denominator of 14, well, whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So 7 times 2, it becomes 14. So 5 times 2 becomes 10. 10/14. 11/14, it just stays the same. 11/14. So now we have to subtract 13 and 10/14 minus 10 and 11/14. It's just the same equation, but we just rewrote it to have the same denominator. But 10/14 minus 11/14, we can't do that because 10/14 is less than 11/14. So what we have to do is we have to regroup. 13, we remove 1, it becomes 12, and we add the whole, which is 14/14, to 10/14, which becomes 24/14. Then we subtract that from 11/14. 24 minus 11 is just 13, and 14. 13/14. Then we subtract the whole numbers. 12 minus 10 is 2. 2 and 13 over 14. That's our answer. Now this may seem confusing because of all the steps we're doing, but just remember, the original question, which was 13 and 5 sevenths minus 10 and 11 14ths, even though we're doing a lot of changes, the numbers are staying the exact same. All these changes are doing is making sure that we can subtract at the end. For example, when we made 5 sevenths into 10 14ths, that was just to make sure that we can have the same denominator to subtract with the 11 14ths. So all these changes are just to make sure that we can subtract. And the numbers, even though they're changing, they have the same value at the end. Now that you know how to subtract mixed numbers with regrouping, click on the video in the description below to learn how to add mixed numbers with regrouping. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Master Calculator for more videos.